You can also make this one a panelist on the Zoom. Like, Cecily. Make this one. Okay. Yeah, right, yeah, that. No, promoted.
All right, good evening, everybody. We'll get started. Welcome, community and candidates. I now call to order the special board meeting of Oak Grove School District on October 3rd, 2024 at 5:16. Thank you all so much for your patience. At this time, may I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted?
I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, awesome. Okay, welcome everybody to the provisional appointment interviews. This is an important opportunity for our board to engage with the candidates who are eager to contribute to our school district. Thank you for your commitment to this process and for your interest in shaping the future of our schools. I want to go ahead and turn it over to the provisional appointment subcommittee of the board, Vice President Hernandez and Trustee Martinez. Thank you so much for working on this process.
All right. Thank you so much. So on behalf of the board and superintendent, I would like to thank each of you for your interest in serving as a member of the board. We appreciate you taking this step towards serving the educational needs of all of our students, families, and staff in Oak Grove. We will conduct interviews by the following process. Candidate names will be selected randomly and announced. The order your name is selected will determine your interview order. When your name is called, please be seated at the appropriate numbered chair in front of the dais. Each board member will then ask 2 questions, and each candidate will have a turn to answer before the board moves to the next question. Each candidate will have the opportunity to be the first to respond to a question. For example, question 1 is answered by candidates 1 through 4 sequentially. The second question is answered by candidates 2 through 4, then back to candidate 1, and so on. By rotating the question order, each applicant will have the opportunity to answer questions both first and last, so that no one applicant has any more or less time to prepare their response. Candidates have around 2 minutes to answer each question, and a timer will indicate the end of the 2 minutes. After all 8 questions have been asked, candidates will have the opportunity to provide a 2-minute closing statement in order of 1 through 4. Public comment will be heard following closing statements, and comments are limited to 1 minute each. We will most likely take a 15-minute break, and then we will announce our 2 selections. The 2 selections will be recorded by the recording secretary. And then out of the identified top candidates, the board will then identify the top 2 candidates receiving the highest overall scores. We will deliberate in open session as the board, and then we'll ask for a motion after deliberation. Okay. All right. Yes.
All right, here we go.
You can do it. Feel free to do it, Beja.
You do it.
Oh. One seat, Jordan Albridge. Jordan. Okay. Number 2, Casino Fajardo. Number 2. Number 3, Nancy Yu. And number 4, Hyde Boyd. Number 4.
Board members, do you all know your assigned session? If not,
Yeah.
you can announce it beforehand.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe announce it.
Yeah, I'll announce it and then you. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, so go ahead and start with the
Okay, thank you all so much for joining us. I will be asking your first question. And question number 1 is, what do you see as the basic purpose of public schools? What is the role of the Board of Trustees, and how will your strength and experiences aid in the fulfillment of that purpose? You have 2 minutes to answer.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here. The role of the public school system is to provide a free education to all children across this country, using a well-rounded curriculum that enhances these students' growth and development, preparing them for to become adults. I am a former elected official in the Rancho Rinconada Recreation and Park District Board. I served on the Foothill De Anza Board as a student trustee. I think the board has the responsibility to uphold our school district's values and ensure that our public school system is strong. And they do that by ensuring that by setting the values of our public schools and also hiring and directing the superintendent and also setting curriculum. So I think that the board and myself, I think I have the experience that that would serve the board greatly in this position. And yeah.
Thank you so much.
Can I answer a question?
Absolutely. So the question is, what do you see as the basic purpose of public schools? What is the role of the Board of Trustees, and how will your strengths and experiences aid in the fulfillment of that purpose?
Thank you. So the role of a public school is, nowadays it's grown so much, to provide students with the life skills to be ready for college, ready for career, and to be well-rounded individuals to achieve their potential. Public schools have now often have been expanded to providing safety and security in recent years, nutritious meals, transportation, health and wellness, mental services, mental health services. Scope keeps expanding, but in general, it's to help these students prepare for life and long. I think the role of the board is a few things. Again, as my peer had said, to basically hire and hold the superintendent accountable. But more importantly, I think in parallel to that is to work with administration staff to set policy. That's really the main function of how the board can really enact change or promote policy determine policy, but also to communicate to our stakeholders. Each trustee represents an area, to be the voice for that area, both ways, to hear from the public. For strengths that I will offer to the board, I myself have been in public education for a long time. I started my career as a union carpenter building schools all the way up and down the coast. Most recently, I've served as a director of construction operations for Unified for 7 years, along with many other schools from the Bay Area. Most recently, I served as the director of operations for Evergreen. In this capacities, I'm able to be a part of a lot of different committees. I've been able to benefit by being a part of the Coalition of Advocate School Housing's Leadership Academy, Facilities Leadership Academy, and represented my district, Northern California. So I think I have kind of strengths hopefully I can bring forward. And in addition, I serve on a few different capacities for the ICA.
Thank you so much, Kathleen.
Just if you can make sure that your microphone is on when it was not on.
Oh, sorry.
We did hear you. Did any of the board members have any issues? Okay,
Okay.
thank you so
No,
much.
it's for the public
Yeah,
on YouTube and Zoom.
Yeah. Okay, Nancy, would you like me to repeat the question or? Okay, awesome.
So hello. I believe that the fundamental basic purpose of public schools is to equip, instill, and prepare students with the knowledge, skills, and passion that they need to pursue their dreams and to navigate their futures confidently. Public schools need to foster an environment where students feel empowered to explore their interests, to develop their critical thinking skills, and to cultivate a sense of purpose. In addition to academic academics, I do believe that public schools also have a social responsibility to provide a safe haven where students feel valued and connected, regardless of their backgrounds. This means providing access to resources and support systems that help students thrive in every aspect of their lives, addressing the diverse needs of our students and ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to succeed. This would kind of include offering mental health services, extracurricular activities, and supports for families to create a holistic and community-centered approach to education. In terms of the board's role, I do believe that it is the board's responsibility to set a clear vision and to determine goals that align with the community's values and needs. The vision is essential as it guides everything that we do. The board is also responsible for developing and enforcing policies to shape the educational environment. Resource allocation is also another critical function. So in order to serve our purpose in schools, we also need to make sure that we are fiscally responsible. And finally, the board needs to hold the superintendent and the exec team accountable for its performance and for student outcomes. In terms of my strengths, because I have had previous experience as a board trustee, I do understand the role and the responsibilities that come with it. I understand. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And hi,
Yes, thank you, the board, for giving me the chance to speak before you today. And I'd like to also thank the you can say a lot about that. Public schools are everything to immigrants, to immigrant families. But to me, two very important attributes of public school. Number one is far-reaching, and number two is equity. Far-reaching, only public schools can reach low-class, poor and middle-class students and immigrant students. And only public school can provide equity, because public schools are the only way that poor kids, middle-class kids, and immigrant family kids can excel and emerge in the mainstream and climb up the career and social ladders. For the role of the board, my understanding is that the board should hold the leadership in defining the policies, in defining financial management, in defining curriculum, and in engaging the community. Of course, the board also supervises the superintendent, and I see that as working together in harmony and driving together to the realistic goals. And how I can contribute? I have been a successful engineer, an engineer leader in Silicon Valley for over 2 decades. I have worked through many, and I hope to bring my experience to contribute to the board functionality. Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
thank you so much. So now I will pass it over to Vice President Hernandez for question number 2.
Thank you. And before sharing question number 2, I just wanted to revisit the scoring that we're doing as board trustees. As the candidates are answering their questions, if you could please select a score for them, 0 through 4, in any one of the boxes that you have next to the question. And then we also do have a spreadsheet online. Right now, the cells are locked. If we're able to unlock them, and then we can also input them as we go along, and then it'll help us compute. Perfect. I'll give us a quick second to reset it. Alrighty, so question number 2, please describe your motivation for applying to this appointment. What calls you to this work? And if appointed, what level of commitment are you able to provide as a board member throughout the appointed term and beyond? And then for this question, we'll start with you, Casino.
I will turn my mic on this time. Thank you for the question. So my motivation for running for school board, I was very interested in actually running for school board since living here. Sometimes it's cost prohibitive when you have to raise money for elections and all those things. And so this opportunity currently, timing wise, seemed like a good time in my life to get involved when I can. I'm just finishing my PhD. I'll have that hopefully here in a little bit. And I was looking for my next way I can contribute back to society and to my community. My kids are, as far as my commitment, and this kind of rolls into my motivation, I have a 9-year-old and a 13-year-old. My 13-year-old has a 504 plan, and he's neurodiverse. And so I'm really passionate about finding ways to support him and kids like him in our community. In addition, looking for ways to further enrich our students. My youngest son is in the GATE program. He's an amazingly committed and diligent soccer athlete, and kids like him also need places to thrive as well with additional programs and learning opportunities. And that's what really calls me to this work. I've also spent my life working, like I said, in education and been on the administration side. And now with my studies in leadership, in organizational psychology, my dissertation is on how to attract and retain teachers through positive school climate. This all feels to align with my passion in life, which is furthering the experience of children and ensuring we can attract and retain talented teachers into our district. And so, yeah, and my commitment, my kids are fairly young. I'm here for a long time and in for the long haul. So anything I could do to contribute back and improve our community, I'm happy to do and serve. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
So the last time that I was here and interviewing for the board, I shared that my passion for equitable educational systems and boosting student achievement has always been at the heart of what I do. It is why I've spent my career in education as a teacher, as a mentor, as an instructional coach, and as an advocate for children. I'm always seeking opportunities where I can make the most impact in improving outcomes for all students and their families, especially for those that come from underserved communities. I believed then, and I still believe now, that the ones who can drive change and have the most impact in setting direction and the trajectory of a school district and in the community that they live in is its school board. And that's why I'm back here now in this hot seat. A few years ago when I left, I was not ready to engage in running a campaign for re-election, but with this open vacancy now, I am eager to come back and to collaborate with the governance team. Again, to recommit to setting a clear vision and crafting policies to foster innovation and engaging learning environments and enhance equitable learning opportunities for all of our students.
Thank you. Hi.
Yes, I'm here because I'm firmly committed to public education, and I have a strong belief in the power of public education. I have 2 kids going to Oak Grove schools. One of them is autistic, and he has been going under the special education program. And he has given me a lot of opportunities to talk to teachers of both regular and special education, and the school bus drivers, the school therapists, secretaries, and a few other Oak Grove employees. So to me, I see that their interests also intersect with my interest as a parent. And I think that the board would needs a fresh perspective from a parent whose interests also align with the students, other parents, and the educators at Oak Grove. In terms of level of commitment, as I mentioned, I believe in public education. I am its product. I believe in equity, in LGBTQ+ rights. I believe in understanding the issues and the root causes of the issues. And I believe in driving and assuming leadership so that we can drive the holistic solutions for all the problems. For instance, teacher retention, revenue, the tax revenue funding, for example. And I have experience working with government officials, with the city of San Jose, with some peer, some connection. I have gained over the years, and with and maybe we can work with also the state government in order to obtain more funding, more and fostering more technology initiatives for our students. So those are my commitments, and I will work every day with a firm belief that public education is the key that will resolve a lot of problems in our community.
Thank you so much. Jordan?
Yes. I am enthusiastic about serving our school district, our community, our teachers, our staff, our parents and students on the board for multiple reasons. My primary motivation is to ensure that every child has a well-rounded and inclusive education that supports their growth and development. I want to ensure that our students are learning the skills and knowledge that will serve them well into adulthood. I want to be a champion for our teachers. I want to be a champion for those students in our district that struggle the most in our public school system. I do not have really fond memories of elementary school, middle school myself. I was in the closet. I was a scared kid in the closet. There was bullying. There were some problems at home. And I took out my frustrations in ways that were unproductive. I would love to work to strengthen our behavioral and mental health services and also to expand on the board's current work on inclusive policies. I'm a former elected official, so I understand the role of a board member. And for several years in my day job, I helped get progressive pro-labor candidates elected to office, including dozens of school board members across the Bay Area. And I'm definitely able and excited for the opportunity to serve. In terms of my commitment, I am committed to serving. If I am appointed, I will definitely consider running for a full term. And yeah.
Thank you, Jordan. All right, that concludes question 2. I will now be passing it over to Trustee Pacheco.
Thank you, Vice President Hernandez. Hi, everybody. I will ask the third question, and we're going to start with you, Nancy. So describe a productive board meeting. What are the objectives of a productive board meeting? I'll ask it again. Describe a productive board meeting. What are the objectives of a productive board meeting?
So a productive board meeting, from my perspective, is one where we, the board, actively listens to the concerns that the families and community members and staff members bring during public comment so that we can hear what their concerns and challenges are during that time of the meeting. During action items, when different resolutions or other topics that require decision-making need to come about, I think the productivity there is, again, for the board members to actively listen, to really ask questions if they don't understand something, to share their perspectives, their comments, their feedback, so that the board as a whole can have a productive dialogue and to really have a true understanding of whether or not they are making good, impactful, effective decisions. I think it is important, again, that dialogue piece, I think, is very key, and to be very transparent about what is being said during the board meeting. I think it's one thing to have information just publicly available, but it's another to make sure that whatever is being presented during the meetings is easily understood by the public and just makes sense, right? So I think it's okay to have disagreement, but we need to work together collaboratively to solve issues.
Thank you. Hi.
I think a productive board meeting has to have to be very clearly defined. And clearly we are defined, meaning that it's the preparation cannot be just be confined within the context of the meeting, but it has to go a little bit further than that. It has to have a clear agenda, and it has to and the board has to inform the public way before the board meeting has happened, and not just because of, not just for an email or an update on the web page, but even the text message, if you have to, or a clear page defined on the website so that people can see well the agenda, what the agenda we're going to discuss. And the tone of the meeting has to be genuine, sincere, friendly. But after that, the board will need to get a clear action plan. The board cannot just sit there and listen to complaints or compliments and then just leave there and then just leave it for another week. After a meeting, I would rather see the board have a clear action, a list of action items, and then clearly inform the public and inform work with the superintendent too, so that we can get something done. We can get real results for the public.
Thank you so much. Hi. Jordan?
Yeah, I think the number one aspect of a productive meeting is mutual respect between the board members, but also staff and the public. When there are disagreements, it's important that we do so respectfully. And then also, I think an important part of productive meeting is to ensure that the meeting is continuing to move along. I'm sure that nobody wants to be here terribly long, when we can get business done efficiently and make sure that everybody's voice is heard. Not one person is taking over any of the debate, but that everybody has the ability to chime in on the issues that are coming before the board. And making sure that, even though the public has specific time limits on their public comments, that the board, and, as myself, if I'm appointed, will do, be extra careful to make sure that we're hearing and listening to what is being told to us on the dais.
Thanks. Casino.
Yes, so I think a productive board meeting has a few things. I mean, mainly it's a prepared board meeting. Meaning the board is either, met ahead of time through, or not met ahead of time, but has received all the information they need ahead of time so they can do proper governance. During the meeting, it should be transparent. We should be able to speak to our community and to our constituents openly and have that dialogue. Respectful tone, I think Hai, you mentioned, I think that's really important and critical, not just amongst ourselves as board members, but also between administration and the public. It's a compliant board meeting, so it's compliant with the Brown Act, and we've made sure to complete any other compliance pieces we need, obviously with direction from the superintendent and other staff to make sure that we as a board are able to do the business of the district. I think a productive meeting would also allow time for proper governance. If we have hearings or we have any other items, that we allow enough time to properly either deliberate those items, so that the agenda is respectful of our community, so that board meetings don't go on until 2 a.m, or that we have enough time for people to be heard. And that, one of our functions as board productivity wise is to keep the district operational. So we're making sure that we are doing the business that the board needs to do, approving items and making sure things get adopted. And really at the end of the day, that board meeting supports children. That's what we're here to do. So a productive board meeting is furthering our LCAP goals. It is supporting the work of the administrators and the teachers and the classified staff that all serve our students. So
And just to clarify, you said the meeting is to be a dialogue with the public, board and public?
no, sorry, I should clarify.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be the board, a productive board meeting would hear and listen to feedback from the public.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. I'll be asking question number 4 with you, sir. Okay. What will you do if you believed administrators had not provided you with accurate and complete information for making a decision?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. And as a leader in my organization, it happens often, more often than enough, than you might think. And I don't see that as an adversarial situation. I would just try to understand why the information hasn't been provided completely. And sometimes the information just doesn't come in on a timely manner. So I would try to understand why I don't have that information. And then I will communicate with the superintendent and I will ask for the superintendent to supply the missing information and the reason why I would need additional information. And then I will follow up with the superintendent and together we can drive to the results or the findings that we want. Is that you can view it as a scientific approach, but for me, it's just leadership. It's a leadership approach when you have to understand the challenges the other party has to go through. You hold the other party accountable, but at the same time, you don't lose the working relationship with the other party because there's a bigger stake, a bigger, higher goals at stake, and that is, and those are for the betterment of our students, our parents, and our teaching staff. So definitely, I will reach an understanding and work in harmony, and together we can drive the results.
Yeah, I definitely, I believe that board members should have good working relationships with our administrators. It is, it is important that as we are making decisions, that we are provided with accurate and complete information. But it's also important that as a board member, I am prepared in advance of the meeting. If I am prepared for the meeting and I have questions, if I believe that it's going to take the superintendent some time to gather the information from the question I have, I'll send that information over to the superintendent to prepare for the board meeting. But it is also the responsibility of board members to be prepared in advance of the board meeting. And if there are any issues of us feeling that we're not getting complete and accurate information, we should have good relationships with our superintendent and administrators to be able to ask for that information.
Thank you.
Sorry, could I ask you to repeat the question? I couldn't quite hear.
What will you do if you believed administrators had not provided you with accurate and complete information for making a decision?
Thank you. Again, the relationship between the board and the superintendent, I feel that the board should work with administration hand in glove. If we, as a board member, if I didn't have accurate information or maybe complete information, say if it was for an agenda item or something that needed action, I would imagine to either not take action on that item until we had complete information, and we have a responsibility to serve the district financially, from compliance. And so, yeah, I would be working through my superintendent so that he could then work with staff to get us the right information from wherever that would have to come from if I had incomplete information. Yeah.
So for me, I think it would depend on when the inaccurate or incomplete information was provided. If it was provided during a live board meeting, I would not feel comfortable in taking any action with that item, and I would request that the superintendent and whoever other exec team people come back at the next board meeting to provide accurate and complete information. If the inaccurate and incomplete info was provided prior to the board meeting date and time, as Jordan had mentioned earlier, I think it is important that board members do their homework, right? That they go through the board docs, agenda items, look through all the attachments, read the information, and really start asking questions if there are gaps that they're noticing so that they can receive the accurate info ahead of time.
Sorry, I'm recording my answers. Okay. Okay, and we will come back to Jordan Eldridge with question number 5. Please describe your response if a parent approached you in the grocery store and asked for your support on a particularly controversial issue.
That's a great question. I think it is important as a board member to make myself available to our community, for our community to provide input on what is going on in the district, or what is on our agenda. I have no problem talking with somebody that that recognizes me at the grocery store, as long as we are cordial and there's no fights that break out. But I think it is very important that we put ourselves, since we are putting ourselves in this position to serve the community, that we are listening to the community as many opportunities for that as possible.
Thank you so much.
Ready? Oh. So my response to a parent, for if there was a parent had asked me something in the grocery store about a controversial issue, would be first to listen, as a role would be. But I'd have to be careful to the extent that I would be interacting and dialoguing to make sure that I wasn't that I was staying within my my role as a trustee. Being a citizen is one level of I guess interaction, but being an elected member of the board or board of the trustees, there's a whole different level of responsibilities. So I mean, grounded in whatever action that was taken in the past, I feel that I would probably be pretty free to tell them about anything that the board had already taken action on in public session that was sort of readily available. But if there was something, I'd want to come back with them with more information if I could, and collaborate with the superintendent, and hopefully direct them either to come to a board meeting and voice their concerns so they could be heard. I would want to make sure that I was available and that they knew that they had a resource in me to communicate back and forth, but I would have to be very, very careful depending on what the issue is and really ground my answers, if any, in the service of children and the district.
Thank you so much. Nancy?
So if a community member approached me about a controversial issue, I do think it is important that we listen to their point of view, that we listen to their feedback, and that we really show that we care authentically about what their concerns are and what their challenges are. I would also ask them, what their ideas are for solutions or resolutions to the issue that they are bringing up. I think it is important that we remind community members that while we are here to listen and take their feedback into consideration, I alone cannot make decisions, right? We can bring back their comments and their feedback to the board, to the superintendent, to the exec team, and we can communicate to the community member that we hear them and we will take their thoughts into consideration. But again, any action that is taken requires collaboration and discussion amongst the board as a collective.
Thank you so much. Hi.
If I become a member of the board of trustees, I will prepare myself to make sure that I'm well informed whenever whenever so that I can hold a meaningful conversation with a member of the public. For certain controversial issues, I'm not going to pretend I have all the answers, and I'm not going to pretend to know it all. At the same time, I also want to be as transparent and as honest and sincere to the member of the public as much as possible. And and being this a controversial issue, I will talk to that member of the public with compassion, with delicacy, so that we can understand. So I can thoroughly understand what the concerns are. And for the concerns I don't have the answer for, I will tell him or her that I will bring this matter to the board and to the superintendent. And even if it could be, it may sound controversial, but the principal of the school or the superintendent can address, then I will provide the contact info for that for the member of the public to follow up, and I will follow up as well. So it takes listening skills, it takes preparedness, and it also takes compassion and the sincerity that I want to help understanding the issue thoroughly. That's my response.
Thank you so much. I will now pass it over to Member Hernandez for question 6.
Thank you, President Gonzalez. So question number 6, and we'll start with you, Casino. How does an effective school board ensure opportunities for parents, teachers, and community members to express their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues?
Sorry, could you repeat that last part?
Of course.
Sorry, thank you.
Let's see, their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues.
Got it. So I think, oh, sorry. I'm sorry. So informing parents, I'm sorry, could you repeat that again? I thought somebody said something. Sorry about that. I thought I heard something.
Fine.
Could you repeat the question, please, one more time?
How does an effective school board ensure opportunities for parents, teachers, and community members to express their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues?
Got it. Okay. So there's a few different ways that I believe that boards can encourage community members to be a part of our district. There are different types of committees, such as the Citizen Bonds Oversight Committee for fiduciary responsibility, safety committees. There's a fair amount of committees that community can participate in. The School Site Council is a great opportunity to provide insight into how the schools operate day to day. The LCAP process obviously is an all-encompassing opportunity to create and gather feedback, and then also hold ourselves accountable to the results. So I think that's there's so many committees that you can participate in order to provide feedback to administration staff and to the board. Coming to board meetings as well in order to voice your opinions, either during public hearings or during certain agenda items, is also a great way for parents and community members to have opportunities to voice their opinions to the board. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy?
I think in addition to all the district committees and subcommittees and school site committees and surveys, one thing that I thought about when I was on the board before was how can the school board come to the community or come to the parents? So something that I was thinking, and it is still something that I would love to continue exploring if I were to come back on the board, is perhaps holding school site meetings before board meetings, or, monthly, I don't know, pick a school, have the board come to that school just to hear what the community members, the staff members, even the students have to say. What feedback do they have for us? And perhaps, again, just designating a school site that we can come to, because I think it is hard for community members to come to board meetings, right? It's Thursday night, everyone is busy, people have families. Sometimes people are uncomfortable calling in for public comment. So I think we need to explore other ways where we can be more accessible to community members. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi.
Yes, I think that we are very blessed to have to live in a community with diversity, but and then comes with that is a some diverse points of view, and we need to respect that for everybody. So there are certain what comes in mind is there are certain points of view that can be considered controversial to some, like equity, DEI, school bullying. To me, they shouldn't be controversial, but it could be controversial. Then there are some issues like teacher retention, funding, school performances. So I think that for the school board should act as an effective sorter of the issues. There are issues that can be, if there are issues that can be resolved more effectively by committees. I heard there are so many committees, so some of them, I guess, could be suitable for those committees. But for the school board, issues about teacher retention, about funding, about school performances that are different, especially lower in the communities where there are disadvantaged students, then the school board should take priority. So I guess that my summary here is that the school board should prioritize and focus on the issues, the controversial issues that impact our students, our teachers, our community the most. There are always controversies, but also there are also committees for controversies.
Thank you. Jordan?
I apologize, trustee Hernandez. Can you please repeat it
Of
one more
course.
time?
No apologies.
been a while.
necessary, y'all. All right. How does an effective school board ensure opportunities for parents, teachers, and community members to express their diverse range of views to inform board deliberations on important policy issues?
Yeah, I absolutely believe in shared government. Teachers and even students to make sure that issues that are coming up before the board are getting out there to the community so they can come and address issues when they feel the need.
Thank you so much. Trustee Pacheco.
Thank you, Vice President Hernandez. Excuse me. All right, so the seventh question, the penultimate question is, how do you evaluate the progress and success of a school district? What is a specific topic or concern you would like to improve in the Oak Grove School District? So let's go with Nancy for this, to begin. Again, how do you evaluate the progress and success of a school district, and what is a specific topic or concern you would like to improve in the Oak Grove School District?
So I think that the way that school boards evaluate progress and measure progress and success is really against the LCAP, right? So understanding what those LCAP goals are, and within those the LCAP goals, how did the school board define what growth looks like within each of those goals? One area of improvement that I would like to see is, I know that school safety continues to be a concern, both physical and emotional safety. I do think that we need to ensure that our students feel supported and safe in their learning environments, because that is a fundamental to their success, right? So making sure that our buildings are up to date, up to code, how are we using those Measure P funds to make sure that we're modernizing our schools in an equitable way, right? How are the schools being chosen for modernization? I think we also need to ensure not just physical safety, but social and emotional safety. So making sure that both teachers and students feel that they have the supports and the resources needed. I think nowadays, especially for teachers, right, with the big behaviors that we're encountering at the school sites, and particularly for our SPED staff, I do think that we need to ensure that we have the resources needed to effectively manage increasingly challenging behaviors. And I think that is just one area of improvement that I would like to see progress and growth in.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think that to establish an effective evaluation of the progress and the success of the school district should establish a baseline, a basic set of metrics, and then from there it will reassess every half year or every semester or even annually. And success for the school district is not just the quality of education. Quality of education is job number one. But besides that, the school district has to also offer a holistic solution for our students and for teachers as well, and for the school staff as well, so that everyone can feel great, can feel the sense of belonging to the school district. I have heard the others mentioning about school safety, emotional and physical. Yes, I agree. Buildings have to be upgraded. Yes, I agree. But the concern, that points to the main concern is funding. Money is always the problem, right? So how does the Oak Grove as a school district obtain enough funding for that? One way is that if the school district can deliver the results, I think that the public will be very receptive to new bonds and new property taxes. God forbid, but that could be that's a possibility. And then the school district can go reach out to the city of San Jose, to the state, to obtain funding. So there are multiple opportunities available, and that takes the leadership at the school board to work with others to accomplish those results. And I guess and I believe that is the foundation for progress and success at Oak Grove.
Thank you. Jordan?
Yeah, I believe that we have to go beyond just behavioral and mental health care is being provided to not only students, but their families as well, because it's hard to just focus on a student without working with the entire family. It is also, it's not just what's happening in the classroom, but in our, the quality of our curriculum, but also, creating an environment in our schools that is inclusive and allows these students to learn who they are, identity building. Some concerns that I would like addressed. I believe the district could improve its communication with parents to build a more sustainable and self-determined community. I've also been hearing a lot about the need to address our special education programs, that they are understaffed and they could use much needed attention.
Thank you. And Cassino.
So I'd echo what many have said before me. Specifically, for evaluating the progress of a school district, I'd look to a few different areas. One is the state dashboard to see specific metrics around how individual schools in the district are performing in general. Things such as a baseline, like the California Healthy Kids Survey for kids or parents or staff. I think there's there's options there. Again, to get a baseline and then measure ourselves against that to say, okay, how are we progressing towards improving those outcomes? Additionally, and that's the quantitative side. On the qualitative side, having an opportunity for parents, teachers, and classified staff too, right, to provide feedback as to how we can improve and continuously improve within the district. Some of those will be telltale signs, and they lead in sort of my specific topics of concern, things such as staff attrition. What is our turnover rates for teachers or classified staff? Do they stay within the
And describe how you would balance community concerns, student needs, state and federal law, staff considerations, and your personal values and beliefs to determine how to vote on the issue.
I think they are all very important issues, and they are the core, the core responsibilities for the Board of Trustees to decide. I would put student needs to be the most important priority for the board, because when the board prioritizes on student needs, then the board will also need to work diligently to care about staff retention. The board will have to work diligently to care about state regulations and initiatives. Student needs is what I believe the Board of Trustees and the entire school district is established for. And I take, for me, it's personal because of my son, who is a special needs student, and and also my daughter, who's also going to Oak Grove School, to an Oak Grove school. So in order to take care of student needs properly as a board member, I would work with the board to listen more from the communities, to listen more from the teaching, from the staff of Oak Grove, and then we can prioritize. There's always a long list, but effective leadership and efficient leadership means prioritization. And once we can get that sorted out, we can work together and we work with the superintendent and we can drive towards success. What important is the results, true results, and the rest are just, to me, are just bureaucracy or politics. I don't, and yeah, leadership is above politics, and that's where I'm gonna stand.
Yeah, an issue that I am particularly interested in right now is dealing with school site infrastructure upgrades and the needs surrounding that. I am in full support, but also kind of seeing how it goes. The ballot propositions that are on the November ballot. There are two education ballot measures, one that will lower the ballot measure threshold for passing to 55%. And then there's also one for school site infrastructure upgrades. I'm really interested in that topic. I think that especially in District 5, Bernal has some infrastructure needs. And in terms of dealing with this issue, there are people in the community that are tired of their taxes increasing. So I definitely understand that it can be a controversial issue putting a ballot measure on the ballot. So, I would work closely with all sides to try to balance the need for funding for infrastructure, but also understanding that our families are spending a lot of money right now on taxes, and we need to pay attention to that as well.
I would say a recent board decision that I was in support of was the idea of putting a bond on the measure for the community. I think that was super needed and timely, and I think that was great. I voted for it. But I know that as a board, that's a tough decision to levy taxes, to have a plan in place. But I think you did. You had a facilities master plan, which was vetted, which was robust. And I think the financial projections currently look really positive. So I think that's, I felt passionately about that. I encouraged my fellow neighbors to vote for the bond so that, because I know very intimately that there is no deferred maintenance funds. There are no large capital improvements. If we want our schools to change and upgrade, we have to pass bonds to get those done. I would say more controversially, though, the closing of schools is one that I'm passionate about. That's always difficult, but necessary sometimes, especially if we're in declining enrollment. But that's, I think, the work of the district and the board to sort of help navigate that process with the community. Ultimately, it's to serve children and make sure that we're financially responsible. For me, I'd love to see ways we can, keep schools public and maintain, keep those kiddos with us, but also maybe get creative. Other school districts are doing things such as workforce housing. I know many classified staff and some of our staff, they don't, it's hard to live in the Bay Area. I was only very fortunate to purchase in the area I live today, and I don't know that I would be able to afford my home today. And I love Oak Grove School District, so I would love to see if there's ways we can keep our staff close and maybe use our real estate that's not being used or projected to not be used to help the district. Thanks.
I am going to apologize ahead of time because that was a big question. I'm going to try my best to answer it. So earlier in the interview, I had mentioned that I do believe that schools have a social responsibility, right? We need to create holistic and community-centered approaches to education that recognize not just academics, but social and emotional well-being. With that said, something that the board is currently working on and has passed is the idea of community schools that was brought about by former trustee Tanya Jaco. I am very interested in the community schools proposal and establishing community schools, I think, is it in Edenvale and Christopher? I think that's what you guys are looking at. Because I do think that that is definitely one way to engage families, to engage students, to engage staff, right? For them to take initiative and be proactive in solving the issues that are particular to that community. I think that every community in our district is different. And I think it's the people that live in those communities that are the best problem solvers, right? They know what the needs are, and they should be very active in coming up with the solutions. So that is why community schools, I think, appeals to me, is because it is centered in the neighborhood. And I know that just a lot of things that need to be put into place, right? So really gathering community feedback, hearing what the concerns are from the staff. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating and answering these questions. At this time, it is time for closing remarks. And so just a reminder, you will have 2 minutes to provide closing statements. And it's going to be in the order of 1 through 4, which we would start with Jordan and ending with Hi. All right. And then let's see if we can do a 1-minute timer to just give some folks some time to maybe gather your thoughts, and then we'll go forward with the 2-minute closing statement.
And Vice President Hernandez, if I could just ask Superintendent Chaides, where can I find the live stream link as well for this meeting? Is it being live streamed?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'll try to find it. All right, thanks.
The board docs.
And then I do want to mention to the board members, the online doc for rating is also now unlocked. You can go
Okay.
ahead and enter.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same link that we always have for YouTube and Zoom.
And because there's going to be possibly public comment as well for this item as well? Okay. Good. Oh, do you need a break? He needs a break.
Alrighty, so we will now begin with the 2-minute candidate closing remarks.
2 minutes or 1 minute?
2 minutes.
Thank you so much, President Gonzalez, Vice President Hernandez, and board members. I am thrilled to be here, to be seeking this position. I want to take my 2 minutes to talk about 2 people in my life that were huge influences for me, and that was my grandparents. My grandfather passed in 2016. My grandma passed last year, and both were teachers. My grandmother taught special education. My grandfather taught mostly 6th grade. My great-grandfather was a teacher, principal, and superintendent, and I have aunts that are teachers or retired teachers. My year pensions increase to make sure that pensions remain at 80% value of the original pension that the teacher received. I am really
For myself, just to hear from my own words, a little bit of background. My wife and I have lived in the neighborhood for because I've worked in different school districts, and I think that's something that's great. For myself, I'm a first generation American. I am the first person in my family to go to college. And being that way, and trying to earn my doctorate has been a bit of a challenge, but also an opportunity to know what other kids may be experiencing here at Oco School District, especially if you're multiracial, if your parents haven't been to college, trying to get those opportunities or for career. If, elected to the school board, I'm happy to bring my whole self to the board, provide any insight that I may have through my experience, both professionally and personally. I wish the board the best in this election process. I know it's going to be tough with these candidates, so appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nancy?
So thank you. Educator to be on a school board. I do think that the most effective school board members are current educators, right? We are the ones who understand firsthand and can relate to the issues and challenges that every person at every level in the system faces. One of my strongest assets that I bring is my multifaceted and balanced perspective. Having been on the board before, I do understand open-minded. I'm willing to take all opinions and thoughts and feedback into consideration. As a teacher and as a parent in the school district as well, I do have solid insight into the needs of both of our staff, both certificated and classified. The challenges that our administrators face as well. I think more importantly, I'm just super passionate about creating high quality, equitable, engaging, culturally sustaining. And I'm not just throwing these like buzzwords just to throw them out because I live these values every single day, right? I can walk into a school site, I can walk into a classroom and I know what equity looks like in these classrooms. I know what it means to be culturally sustaining and to see culturally sustaining instructional practices as well. I'm super dedicated to fostering an inclusive atmosphere, and I value every voice in our community. So thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Hi.
Yes, thank you, the Board of Trustees. Thank you, the Superintendent, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you to to all of my fellow candidates. Actually, I have learned a few new things from all of you. As I have said before, and I'm proud to say, while that could work for a select few, I think we can all agree on an alternate a few decades ago in a penniless family living in the middle of a struggling neighborhood in Milwaukee to becoming a power of education. And I'm also a product of public education. Public education is very far-reaching and is the only hope for immigrant families, for low-income and middle-income families. It's the only way for the kids to rise up, to emerge to the mainstream, and to climb up the social and career ladders. So education and public education is the key solution to all the divisiveness and all of the decline in culture and morality in society today. If I'm a part of the board, I will work every day with that firm belief in mind, and I will work on practical solutions, practical approach, and I believe in working together with all the rest of the members of the board, the superintendent, and the community members.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Okay, thank you. So at this time, we will go ahead and. So at this time, we will go ahead and hear public comment. You have 1 minute each, and the first we have is Bob Perla.
Good evening. Is this thing on? Is this on? Oh.
Yes.
Good evening, board. So here's the thing. We are presented with a very huge task for you tonight. Are applying for this position for the right reasons. And you could hear it in all of their answers tonight. We could hear it when we interviewed them ourselves. So you do have a very complex problem in front of you, but it is a good decision or a good problem, because no matter what you do, I believe all of these candidates will put their best into this position and do their best to work with students, families, and staff to make Oak Grove the best place possible. So with that being said, there is one candidate
Trustees, good afternoon, Superintendent, good afternoon, candidates. It was an honor to hear you all today. Right? Because all the candidates were prepared. You can hear their experience and also long-term run. This is really important because then in less than 2 years, it's going to be another term and another 4 years. So OGEA look specifically at that. Want to thank all the candidates, and then OGEA would like to recommend Jordan Elrich for Area 5. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this time, we will be taking a 15-minute break. I'd like to ask the board members to make sure that before you take a break, please fill out the online survey. And then there are letters of recommendation in the file. Please make sure you review those. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our candidates. Please take a break.
Minute break. Luis and Bob, regarding just your guys' composure tonight, the passion that was just so obviously shown. We all know firsthand it's very difficult putting your full self out there. And so I want to thank you for taking the time to just try this experience out and to share yourselves, your stories, and your passion behind public education. It was wonderful listening to each and every one of you just share a little bit more about yourselves, your own educational journey, and why you would want to give back to the community in a position like this. This was very, very difficult. What I have before me are the scores based on each of you guys' answers across each of the 8 questions. And so I think we're all ready to announce the top 2. So Casino, and then Mrs. Nancy. So those are our 2 candidates. And again, thank you so much. Hi, thank you so much, Jordan. Again, really, really appreciate your time with us tonight. Okay.
I'd just like to extend a huge thank you to everyone who did the process. As our teachers mentioned, we had an amazing panel today. I don't think I've ever had such a harder, I know I said that last time, but it gets harder every time we have, an appointment. And this is one of the toughest decisions we make. And it will be for many of these board members, their legacy that they leave behind. So thank you so much to our board members for making such a difficult choice. And so with that, we can move on to deliberation. Would anybody like to start? Okay, I can start. I think we have 2 amazing candidates. Both seem very experienced in the public school system. I think what really stood out to me was, give me just a second. Casino's answer for evaluating progress and success. He had so much insight as far as the California dashboards, things of that nature. It really seems that he has the experience and has the background as far as tools go in public schools to be
Just, test scores, but also our LCAP. It's also our feedback surveys. And most importantly, the most important tool is our superintendent evaluation. That's because we have one employee, how we evaluate you and how we direct you is our most important, one of our most important tools. I didn't hear that from either candidate just yet, but I was impressed by both when it's clear that both of these candidates have a deep understanding of LCAP and of and the purpose of a school board and how it's supposed to engage in its responsibility with both policy creation and while balancing staff, students, stakeholders, and also the complexities that comes with the relationships on this board where we're a group of humans and we all have our different needs and wants and priorities. And so finding balance through a collaboration with that was important. And I liked how Nancy described that in her third answer, when she was talking about collaboration. Also with Casino, he talked about, compliance with the Brown Act. I very much appreciated that reference to the Brown Act. And so for me, making sure that we choose a candidate that there is no wait time, they can hit the ground running. That's essential, especially because we're already we have a new leadership. We may be getting new board members in a few weeks. And so whoever we choose, I'm going to rely on them to help guide the new trustees. In addition with our veteran ones, whoever those people will be. And so I think it's hard because Nancy, I think for me has a leg up because she has served as a trustee already. She understands the role. And I'm not sure, I don't actually remember if she's actually done the MIG trainings, the Masters in Governance trainings, the CSBA trainings. But it seems like both candidates know clearly how public schools work and the complexities of governance. So I'm feeling really strong about both of them, with particular emphasis on Nancy because of her previous experience with governance. And for me, also just a pragmatic approach to leadership and decision-making, because I'm also the same way. It's just very pragmatic, straight to the point. Like how do we have a problem, solve it. Point A, B, make it simple, I like that.
Thank you. So jumping in here, I think before us, we have two parents. And again, that parent voice, it's so critical. And I appreciate the way that you spoke just about your own experiences as parents within the public education system. And again, from various different standpoints. And so I appreciated, especially Casino, I know you have two children, one that's in the GATE program, and then one with a 504 plan. And so just various programs that support our students. I appreciate that perspective. And of course, Nancy, I'm familiar with your work that you do. That is a big connector with our own districts and with leaders across Santa Clara. And so something that stood out for me, and maybe was one of my favorite answers, let me find it here. It was number 4 for you, Nancy's, your response was that you don't act as one board member, or rather like one board member is not the end all be all, but we are a team, and 5 of us together, right, is what makes decisions or decisions move forward. And so I really appreciated that perspective, and also being willing to come back and bring those concerns to the next board meetings or to the superintendent. I thought that was also a really critical point. And then Nancy's answer to number 6, how can the board come to the community, really stood out to me. I think, I know we're not alone in this as Oak Grove School District, but that is an area that we can consistently improve in, with just how do we reach to our parents that are multilingual, right, or just come from, or just that are working as frequently as they do. And then I really appreciated Casino's professional experience. I don't think we have anybody on the board right now who would come with that, who has that lens. And so having that perspective with your work would be, I think, really critical with some of the things that we're trying to move forward with. And then I'll pause there.
Right, my turn. So I appreciate everyone's answers. It was getting to me, it was very fair through everything, through 1 to 5. But one thing that really was number 6. After number 6, it was where my numbers kind of change. And since I've been on the board, something that I've been trying to focus is communication, parent engagement, get them to participate in meetings. And the one that really hit that spot for me was Jordan. I didn't really hear that much from the others, like how to improve communication, how to get them to attend meetings, how to get them into the meetings in general. And that's what stood out for me. But the other questions were right on. Everyone was in the same level of numbers for me. And I'll leave it at that. That was my main focus of what I was looking for a candidate, someone that would bring more family engagement, involved in the meetings and communicate more with them.
Okay. Yeah. So again, I think both candidates came with a great amount of experience. One, because they took the opportunity to serve in the past. But what stood out to me was the fact that Casino has never served, right? He's never had any benefit of sitting on the board, of working with the board, but he still is so knowledgeable and read up on all of these things. And that takes a certain amount of dedication to the public school system that I saw shine through the brightest with Casino. Also, my main concern and my main goal, right, is to secure the legacy of the board. And what does that look like moving forward? I think for me, when the term is up, who is willing to do that campaigning? Who is willing to walk on the doors, and who is willing to secure the seat? Because there's been, I think, a large turnover in this board. I would not like to see that again, but it can happen, right? And so we need to see, as far as the longevity of the board goes, what our best options are. I think that Nancy has been amazing and she's played a great role in the past. But we've seen from experience that she, after her term, she did not take that campaigning and she did not run for the seat, right? And so that leaves me in concern with the longevity of the board and the longevity of the board member in person. I also want to push on Member Martinez, if you have any deliberation as far as the two selected candidates that have moved forward. Deliberation on Casino and Nancy, because those are the two candidates that have moved forward.
Because of the scores, those were the highest scores. so
We're
that
only
there's
considering
those two.
these educators in front of us.
Yeah, that wasn't the outcome I was expecting.
So then of these two, we ultimately have to decide.
Yeah. One thing I do want to mention is, like you said, Nancy, she only ran because it's appointed and wanted time, so. Talking about legacy, so she run. Running. To me, it's not like.
Yeah, I also did hear Casino mention campaigning. The thing with me, it was kind of fleet, so I don't understand. I can't confirm that his position was to continue in campaign after his term. And I don't know that we can ask any
I think he said he was here for the long term
okay,
because his kids are young.
okay.
That's what
got
I
it. Yeah,
remember
yeah.
from that answer.
Okay.
And so I took that as an implication that he would run. I think I also want to echo what stood out to me was also the Board Act, understanding that the work up here is very hard and we're all passionate in our own ways. But still we have to abide by rules and regulations, and part of that being the Brown Act. So I appreciated that mention too.
It sounds to me right now, it feels like the board is a little split.
Mhm.
I want to start off with a motion and just see where it goes. Can we do that and continue the conversation? Okay.
Just for clarification, so if the board is split, then the decision will go to the county and the county will then appoint one of the, I believe, one of the four candidates here. So so the board will not control who it is, but the county will do it if you
And does
are
it take
split.
place after the first motion?
If we fail to make a decision.
If you fail to
today.
make the decision today, then it goes, I will let the county know tomorrow and then they will decide who the person is.
But we would be, like, it's within our power to make a motion and then make another motion, even if it fails the first.
Yeah.
So
Yes, yes, that's correct.
I don't anticipate
That's correct.
us going to the county.
No, I just want to,
We'll
I
make a
want to
decision
just be
tonight.
transparent and let you all know what,
I appreciate.
yes,
the
you're
clarification.
welcome.
Yeah.
Actually didn't know that process. Now I do.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I move that the the local school district Board of Education appoints NetCU for their provisional appointment for Area 5.
I mean, I would second that.
So we're in discussion now.
Okay, so now we're in board discussion. Again, I just would echo my concerns as far as legacy. We heard Casino Fajardo be very adamant about staying here. He has ties to the district as far as his children. And I think that as far as his answers, all of them were very just very specific, right? He mentions things like the LCAP, he mentions the dashboards. He talks about compliance with the board act, things of that nature. And I don't know that many candidates can come on the board with that kind of knowledge. Even myself coming on the board, those are things that I had to be educated on once I came. So we talk about a candidate who will hit the ground running. I am very much so impressed with Casino because seems like he can hit the ground running as far as his experience and his answers go.
Yeah, I don't disagree at all. I am super impressed with Casino. And I also appreciated all of his answers and background, especially the emphasis on the neurodivergence needs of our kids. Though I do think if there is a concern about running and we have the candidate right here, we could just ask her, you know, what is her opinion on this specific question? Like, you know, would you run? Would you want to maintain the seat?
Just 1 second.
Okay.
We would have to ask them both.
Yeah, we can ask them both. Yeah, let's ask both. So we can start off with Casino. What would be your vision for the term of your seat once the provisional appointment concludes, and then it's time to decide whether to run or not?
Sure. Well, the short answer would be it is through serving. It's through service. So yes, the short answer would be, yeah, I would love to serve for as long as I can.
Thank you, Casino. Nancy?
So this is a question that I have reflected on a lot. I think a few years ago when my term was up, I wasn't ready to campaign, right? I just wasn't in that mindset. I didn't see myself as someone like going down that path. Recently, I think my thought process has changed a little bit, and it's more around like the work that I've been doing in my own school district. So I have been doing a lot of presentations and PDs, and I found that every time I speak to a group of teachers or to parents or to families, I do find my passion, right? I leave those spaces feeling fired up, right? Wanting to drive more change, make more impact. And so when I did talk to OGA last time, I did share that I'm not someone that would want to campaign, but I have learned to never say never, right? So with that said, I think that if I were to rejoin the board, I would be committed to campaigning and staying on the board and continue on the legacy that you have all put in place and to further our impact as well.
Thank you, Nancy.
Just to say, I've done a lot of self-reflection on this.
Okay. All right. Has that changed either of your minds? Yeah, we're in discussion with these two colleagues right now. So, Dr. Martinez, what's your thought?
My thought is that, well, how can I put this? I know Jordan personally, be transparent with that. And I know he's well connected in the Democratic Party, in many community events. So I know he has connections. And I think I believe that's a strong asset that we need in the board. We have a parent, we have a teachers, we have one that's not a teacher. So we have a diversity of group, but I think we need someone with a different perspective on the board. You know, a parent and a teacher. So I think I strongly believe he'll bring more to the table, a lot to our growth in the long run. And I strongly support Jordan and
So-
Bryce them.
Thank you so much, Member Martinez. Because of the procedure of this process, he will not be moving on to the second round because the scores have already been tallied, and we can't rescind that. So these are the two members, the two candidates that will be moving forward. Do you have anything in regards to what we just heard from these two board members?
First to what Nancy said, I am concerned that and the first time. That you continue for when she.
Yeah, I guess for me, the clarifying question would be, since we are asking clarifying questions, is as far as campaigning goes, what is your experience? What can you bring to the table as far as campaigning? How can you work with community to ensure that you, if it is in your, likeness to continue with the board, how can you ensure that you will continue by means of campaigning? Correct. We started with Casino this time. We'll start with Nancy.
So I'm going to be honest and say I have absolutely no experience with campaigning. So I think for me in 2 years, right, I would really look to all of you for advice and for support. And to really understand, what is all involved and kind of the process that I need to take, who do I need to connect with? Who do I need to see? Continue to build on the collaboration and partnership with OGEA so that I can get their support with the campaign as well. But yes, I'm just going to be completely transparent. I really, that is new territory for me, right? And that is definitely something that I would have to learn and research more about as well.
Thank you, Nancy. Casino?
Yes, and sorry for not mentioning that earlier. So I have been a part of campaigning in the past. So through my professional life, when I was an employee at Morgan Hill Unified, I campaigned as part of the nonprofit to support our bond measure, Measure G, and I was on that action group. So I was participated in the presentations to the South County Democratic Committee, I think, or I forget the group. And so I've been a part of that more in a group, not on my own as a candidate. I've never campaigned as a candidate specifically, but I have been a part of that process and done the phone banking, precinct walks, and those sorts of things. So I'm familiar with what that entails.
Yeah, for me, I would like to thank you for your commitment. Again, I think one of the things that we asked was we want a candidate who can hit the ground running. And the candidacy doesn't end, after this appointed term. It sounds like Casino can both hit the ground running in leadership here and also in campaigning, which is, I think, an uphill battle for a lot of us. So while I appreciate the commitment and honestly, at this point, I'd be happy with both candidates, I do see a benefit in leaning towards a candidate that has experience with campaigning, that seems to know board policy, the way that the board moves, and has all of these qualities that we are looking for.
I think it's really important that we remember something critical about what we're doing right now. We're trying to appoint a trustee that is able to hit the ground running, that fulfills the skills and dispositions needed to be successful in this role right now. And having campaigning skills is not part of that. That's goes beyond actually the role of a trustee legally. It's a nice to have, and we have commitments from both of them that they would want to continue that way. But to use that as a factor, as a metric for trying to make a decision at this point, for me also feels inappropriate. So I really think we need to think about the current needs of the district right now. This is a 2-year appointment. There's plenty of time for anything to happen to either. And so we really do need to think about the immediate needs. We have commitments, that's enough. So we have 2 people on one side, 2 on the other. Carla, if you want to change your mind, I can take my motion back and we can make a new motion.
So truthfully, I'm very torn between the 2 candidates. I see positives from both candidates. I think similar to your point right now, I was stepping away, as far as whether or not you campaign in the future. I think for me, I'm just trying to picture both in terms of like the missions that you guys have put forward of like what would be your mission and values if you were to join the board. And so that's kind of what I'm sitting with. You guys have very distinct backgrounds and both are critical. I think we need both experiences. And so I think that's where I'm torn. I would be fine with either motion. So it sounds like both of these other trustees would be voting for Casino and I could also see myself voting for Casino. So we could move on with that motion.
Okay. Do you want to move on with Casino? You don't? Okay. So then
You would move on with.
he said he does not want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
But does that mean then that you would vote for Nancy?
He would vote no. He would vote no on both, right? Okay. So
Okay.
then actually,
Yes.
we do, yeah, we don't have enough.
We would have 3 here. Oh, because you would vote no.
I would vote no. I'm sticking firm with my choice right now.
So the county would make the decision.
Okay.
And normally it's the county superintendent that makes a decision.
But there's
We
a
know.
transition, yes.
Yeah.
But to clarify or highlight a point, the board chose the top 2. And if it gets kicked back to Santa Clara County, they will reevaluate all 4. And
Well,
so
well-
our scores basically are null.
Well, if it goes back to the county, because, and in the case, because board member Diego does have a conflict of interest with Jordan being his boss, his immediate supervisor, he would have to abstain anyways.
Mhm.
He would not be able to vote because Jordan is his employer.
Mhm.
So in this case, because 3 is a majority.
We have to be
It would have to
unanimous.
be unanimous,
Mhm.
correct.
Okay.
And then, given that the county superintendent is no longer the county superintendent, and they're the ones that make the decision, we would probably have to wait for them to have an interim superintendent at the county, so there could be a delay in having trustee Area 5 board member until they have a interim superintendent.
I would
But-
really push for us to make a decision tonight. I think that would be irresponsible to walk away when we have 2 exceptional candidates right now. And again, all 4 of you guys were exceptional. But right now we're thinking about time, we're thinking about duty, and we do have a responsibility to figure this out.
So
I don't feel comfortable going to basically leaving it up to the county who's not gonna know our needs as intimately as we do. And Member Martinez, I understand your frustration with the process, but you do have the ability to vote on one of these 2 candidates, either Nancy or Casino. And as Superintendent Chidas explained, even if Jordan was in the top 2, you wouldn't have been able to exercise your right to vote. But with these 2, you are able to. And so I really want to push us right now to figure that out.
yeah, I would like to urge you to use your responsibility as a board member to cast your vote. I obviously can't make you do anything, but with the idea of the betterment of the district and leaving that responsibility to us, the board, that has been granted to us, the board, I think.
And then from what's happening right now, it seems like I'm firm with where I'm going. President Gonzalez, from where she's going, she can go with either. So it really is up to you.
We will be taking a 15-minute break. I want to remind the board members that there is no deliberation during this time, solely for break purposes. Thank you so much to our candidates and to our to those of you who have joined us in the board. I hope you understand that this is a very heavy decision.
Can it be a short?
5 minutes, yeah,
5 minutes.
5 minutes, sorry, guys. I appreciate all of you guys' patience. Obviously, this is our top priority, so we want to ensure that we make this decision with clear minds.
Yeah, they can go.
Okay. And I just want to invite you all, Hi and Jordan, if you did want to leave at this moment, you are able to. If you want to stay, that's totally okay as well. I just want to respect your guys' time as well.
call back to order the meeting if everyone can join us for one last time. Yes, and I'd like to remind the board that there is a motion. Thanks.
The current motion is to appoint Nancy Yu for Area 5. And so,
At this time, we'll have a roll call vote, excuse me.
okay.
Member Martinez,
Aye.
Member Pacheco,
Aye.
Vice President Hernandez,
Aye.
President Gonzalez,
Aye.
motion carries.
Okay.
Oh, for some
This
reason.
time, Nancy, you come on up and I'm gonna be giving you the oath.
We're gonna take a picture. No, you can't. I thought I was taking a picture.
I want to take, yeah, someone got to take pictures of.
Oath of office. Please raise your right hand and repeat. Nancy, you. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. Against all enemies,
Against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States.
to the Constitution
And take the Constitution of the State of California. And the Constitution of the State of California. And the Constitution of the
and the
State.
Constitution of the State of California,
That I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
All right, congratulations. The board would like to come on up and take a picture.
There you go. Get your picture.
All right, congratulations. Well, thank you to the board. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you for taking your time. Thank you. Yeah, let's talk about it. That's the camera. This was a really. Oh, no worries.
Dr. Scheiben's working on his Nancy.
Yes. Please join us. Hold on. Yeah. Appreciate it. Okay, thanks.
Can you guys stay down?
Thank you. Appreciate this. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. You appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, so at this time, we will be wrapping up our meeting here. Again, I want to thank I'll get to that. I want to thank our audience and our board for all of the patience. Member, you especially, I know you've been put through the ringer and I appreciate you advocating on behalf of yourself, the students, teachers, and the district. I'd also like to take this time to mention two things, a great appreciation for board member Jaco and all of her work. She has an amazing legacy and I think we've picked an amazing candidate to continue that. And then I just want to say happy birthday to our superintendent, Yvonne Chidas. So thank you so much for all your work and happy birthday. I will now ask for a motion for adjournment.
Motion. I'll make this motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and the meeting is now adjourned at 7:29. Thank you so much. Thank you, David.
It's in your trunk, I bet.
So put in your coffee. Oh, yeah. Thank you.